This is what it is, okay? I said empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
This episode of the Deployment Dojo is sponsored by Fire Giant.
Welcome to the 54th episode of the Deployment Dojo. This is a live show where we introduce and discuss software installation topics using the WiX Toolset. I'm your host, Rob Mensching, and joining me once again is my very good friend and first student of the deployment, David Edson. David, how you doing, my man?
Hey, pretty good, thanks.
All right, one quick note. If you haven't gone back, for all of you that watch live, if you haven't gone back and watched the last episode, please do go watch it. There's a fun little Easter egg right in the beginning that got all messed up on the live stream. Those of you that have watched this on replay already got it, so that's all good. But I had a little fun with that, so go ahead and drop back in there. Because last episode was a fun episode where we got to introduce the advanced harvesting tooling from Fire Giant that we were using, and we will continue to use it a little bit today. But before we get into today's topic, I want to let you know that this is the last show of season 1 of the Deployment Dojo. I've decided I need to take a break. I'm going to take, 3-ish probably months off, kind of get some things taken care of, get centered, and then, we'll see how things come back together. This is a lot of fun. I always love talking to David every week, seeing all of you in chat. You guys are all great, but just need to take a little break and get caught up on a number of things myself. A lot of stuff at Fire Giant too, things like that. So today is the last episode for a little while. So we're going to kind of wrap up, put a little bow on what we've been doing in harvesting based on some comments, questions people have been leaving on the last couple episodes about how to use or can you use harvesting from the command line. And so I want to dig into that so that we can show how that works, what is possible. And we're even going to go try to bring back some of that heat code, David. I'm going to try to pull it out of history off of GitHub and see if we can show that example as well. And again, how much easier it is to use the advanced harvesting stuff, which is kind of the whole thing of Fire Giant, making you more productive, the tooling easier, those kind of things. So without anything else, David, I think we can jump in and we'll be doing some command line stuff, okay?
Cool, let's go.
All right. Oh, push the wrong buttons. I forgot what I'm doing. Here we go. 0. All right. I was trying to push that button. I ended up going to the side-by-side camera. All right. Do I need Visual Studio? No. Let's do it because we'll start here. All right. Let Solution Explorer open. I'm going to create my branch from here. I could have done it from the command line, but that's okay. We'll get this one going here. Episode 54. Create. All right. And the first thing we edit is the build queue, the build command, build 54. All right. So that's that. Save this file, put it in, look at our change being 53 to 54, and let's get the message here to get started. All right. Having a hard time copying. There we go. Start episode 54. I did not spell that right. Wow. Episode. Wow. Spelling today. Whew. Too much typing is really what it comes down to. When I type a lot, I don't know if you get this, David, like when I've been typing a lot, the typos really start kicking up as I've been going on. All right, episode 54, commit that, and we are good to go. All right, so we did all this work. Let's go ahead and look at it in the Windows service for, oh, no, that's the actual C# code. I want to look at in the HeatWave project, the Windows service components. We ended up with being able to do harvest project output, right? Where we said in our project output here, On the Windows Service CS Proj, we want to say, hey, go ahead and give us all the published items, make those available for us. And then we say in the WiX code, where do you want to put it? And we chose to put the harvest output in this. This gets all expanded into a whole bunch of components for us inside the Windows Service components component group. Hopefully that's self-explanatory. These are the Windows Service files that are getting included in the Windows Service components. And this cool feature in HeatWave Build Tools where we could say, hey, use a harvest file, just grab this file the way that we normally pull files and don't harvest it. Essentially says, I will harvest it separately. Don't get it in all the other ways you get it, which means we don't have to exclude. So in the end, all we have to do is exclude the PDB, and then we have a little bit around, make sure we don't duplicate our cast library. All right, this hopefully is real crash course in what we did in the last episode, simplifying all the stuff we did from the episode before that. All right, so the next step, the question that came up was, I keep using HeatWave, I keep using Visual Studio to build this over and over and over. Does it work from the command line? And I realized, oh, we probably should show that. And then also show what doesn't work. So how about we drop out of Visual Studio and we go into the command line. So does it work from the command line? I'm gonna do a git clean fdx. What this does is delete all the files, all the directories, and everything that is not checked in. So if I have any files not checked in, they will get deleted. You can run ndx from here to see all of the stuff that will get deleted. Basically, all these bin and obj folders, plus some helper folders that Visual Studio creates for us. All right. So I'm going to delete everything just so there's no tricks up my sleeve. Everything's gone. Why did it come back? Oh, because I have Visual Studio Code open? Probably.
Yep.
Visual Studio Code is, or not only Visual Studio, but Visual Studio Code also now has the ability to do all that. All right, now we're clean. Cool. Go into belt test and belt test package. And I know we have the build command. I want to show it working straight up here. Okay. All right, let's see. All right, we'll just keep going. I hope everything works. ms build -restore. And I want to create a bin log. All right, so I'm in the, where am I? Here I have the belt test WiX Proj. All right, so I'm in the WiX Proj project, and I'm just going to do ms build -restore because we have to bring all of the NuGet packages back down, including the WiX Toolset SDK, if you remember. And I'm going to do a BL just because getting a bin log is always a good thing to do. Do ms build restore. Everything goes. Takes a second building. Of course, it's building all the projects in the solution because of all our project references, going out, making sure everything happened. We could see the license information saying, hey, the HeatWave Build Tools are licensed to Deployment Dojo. There they are. Oh, this is a 32-bit component. Oh, I forgot, David. We're using the solution to set our 64-bitness, right?
Oh, right.
Right. Okay, so let's go down. I'll do another git clean. fdx, get everything clean. I forgot about that. And we're going to now, so that built, sorry, I went too fast. That built, all these ICEs are saying, hey, you're building these 32-bit stuff, but you're putting it in 64-bit locations. And that's because we're depending on the solution file to pass down our 64-bitness. We could go talk about architecture and things like that. Maybe in season 2 of Deployment Dojo, we'll dig into that problem. But in the solution file, we have stored the information saying, hey, I want the WiX Proj to be built in 64-bit. So we need to build the solution file, not our individual project. And I had forgotten that because it's been so long since we built from the command line. So ms build restore -bl, because I did it clean. Make sure I did it clean. All right, we're all clean here. ms build restore -build, give me a blah, blah. All right, cool. Now we're building a solution. The solution provides the extra 64-bit context to the correct projects as we're going along. And there we are. Building. And oh, WiX Toolset could not be found. Why did, oh. This is our test program. Have we not been building this much? Ooh. Wow, okay. That's our IT config tool that we don't install, right?
Right.
You know what? I'm gonna let it sit. I want to dig into that at the end, but it's not like real pertinent to what we're doing right now. Because if we bring up our sandbox, hopefully it'll come up. There we go. Start up. That IT tool that we built to create transforms. Remember that from a long time ago, David?
Yeah.
A very specialized tool showing how you could use transforms to build customizations on the customer side for doing group policy deployment. Oh, that's a mouthful. We don't include it in our MSI. So our MSI is built here. It was all clean before. So we'll go through, install, next, accept, next. This is like, let's add our admin functionality. So we'll get our tool, the command line tool with the shortcut, right? Or the UI tool. Starting service, that looks good. All right, CMD. Open it up, console app 1, run it. There we go, standard console to our valued customer, printing out the numbers. And here's our new deployment, recently added app. Ta-da, installed. All right, so what happened? We used the HeatWave harvesting tools inside the MS Build project. So by building inside MS Build, we're able to make everything work inside there. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, great. As it should, it works from the command line. So now the next thing is that's using MS Build. So someone was asking, can you use WiX.exe? So let's see. I got the log file here, right? Bin log. Okay, cool. I'm going to bring the bin log up because I want the WiX.exe command line because it's very long at this point with all of our outputs. Let's see, this one. That's validate. There it is, build. Okay, look at that command line. Okay, so now I'm going to do a clean. Oh, can I? I can't clean everything. I'll go into the belt test package. If I clean everything and I then use the command line will only build the WiX code that we specify, not the WiX project. And the WiX project is how we build our dependencies. But if I clean here, all right, we've cleaned out our MSI. MSI is gone. So now let's try to do WiX.exe. Which version do I have on this machine? 402. Hey, that's good. And this is up to date. All right. So we have the current latest WiX.exe. And then I'm going to pass this command line. Paste text is longer than 5 kilobits. You wish I could continue? Yes, please. All right. So all of this stuff being passed in. I don't think we need all of it, but there's the one we want. WiX.exe build out, all that kind of good stuff. All right. So I want to build this. And by the way, I know this is going to fail. Okay. But I want to show you it to show that it fails. Cannot find the input file, belt test package, Windows service.g file. All right. This .g file is a thing that comes from our project harvesting. So when you use WiX.exe and all of this extra stuff, okay, you will not be able to use project harvesting because you're not in a project. No problem. We'll bring up VS Code. Hopefully this is big enough. And we can switch to harvest folder instead. All right. And this is source, and it's at, what was it? The bind path for the Windows Service 1. All right. Remember this harvest folder thing?
Yeah.
And our harvest file will still work. Both harvest project and harvest folder work the same way. That matches. And the reason I can use this bind path Windows Service 1 is because it's in here. If we go searching for bind path somewhere in here, bind path Windows Forms app 1, bind path, here it is, bind path Windows Service, yada yada, where it got published to. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, actually, we did not publish the Windows Service, did we? Because I deleted everything out of this build. We're gonna have to publish the Windows Service probably too. Let's build again. This may fail when it says, hey, I can't find the files for the published service because we cleaned out the whole build of our MSI. All right, here we go. Run this gigantic command again, but we don't need the .g file here. Oh, look at it blink. Ooh. Ah, I needed some of that. Okay, there we go. I think it gave it back to me. Okay. Man, that is a very long command line. Cool. Error. Cannot resolve bind payback. Check the following paths. See, it said, hey, I thought I needed to find this file here. It's not here because we need to build it. And I'm going to do a quick... I'm going to bring open another window so I don't lose this big honky command line. And we're going to go cd source, cd belt test, cd Windows Service 1. All right. .NET publish. I don't remember what this is. What is Windows Service 1? Is it .NET? Oh, it's 4.7.2. So .NET 4.7.2. Okay. Well, let's just do .NET publish dash out, I think. And then I want to put it into this place where we publish the files. Okay, here we go. I think that's the command. I don't run this very often. So publish the Windows Service project to this folder. You see the reason why we want to do use MS Build for all this kind of work? Yes. Unknown switch. Switch out.
It's not out, huh?
It's not out. Maybe it's O. It's O. Okay, that's great. Woo! Yep. That was okay. Oh, not out. Okay, cool. So now if we look at the folder where we told it to, yeah. Paste. Anyway. Oh, it split it. Publish Windows Service 1. There's our files that got published. All right, so we had to go and publish this Windows Service. But that's all because the bind path was pointing into where the MSI got built, which is what WiX does by default. When you say publish a project, it builds it into the OBJ directory of the MSI. All right, we'll build this again, and hopefully this time it works. Boom, we got an information message saying, hey, your tools you're using are licensed, and we have an MSI now. Okay, why does this work? It works because we have in our list of extensions that are added, -D, 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 lots of -Ds. Here, -EXT. Remember, we're using extensions, so we're using the UI extension, we were using the NetFX extension, and we were using the FireGiant HeatWave Tools extension. All right, So because we passed along the command line, all the extensions still work. And that's one of the reasons why we made the advanced harvesting functionality an extension, because it would just work inside wix.exe the same way it works inside MS Build. All of it, it's all the same that you're used to with every other extension. It's just the same thing. Okay. Oh, wait, where did I build the MS? Where did it build the MSI to? Did I lie? ENUS. Oh, here it is. Okay. Right. When you build an MS Build, this is another difference. Remember, when you do MS Build, it creates the bin folder, but wix.exe builds it wherever you say to, and we told it to build it into the OBJ directory. All these little differences between the command line. It's been too long since we did the command line, I think, David. I've kind of forgotten all the little differences between them. But here we are, no MS Build, just wix.exe from the command line, using the extensions, and you can see us having to do all those things that we offloaded the thinking to the MS Build project. We're able to, now we have to go back and remember all those things that MS Build was doing for us and do them by hand. So you can imagine writing like a big batch file that does all of these steps if you wanted to, or you could just use MS Build, which is easier. All right, so that finished. Let's open a command prompt. This is a whole new install. You can see belt test was right there, here, and console app 1. That worked, and I think I told it to install a shortcut. Yep, I did. And so then there's our app. Cool. All right, so both things work. When you are not building in a project, that's not the right file, Windows Service Close. When you're not building a project, you can't use harvest project output. You have to go back to using harvest folder, because in the end, you're going to be specifying all these folders and where they go.
Right.
Not surprising at all, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, let's bring up the GitHub deployment dojo. I actually like this default icon they gave us for the deployment dojo. I was like, that's cool. It was close enough. Looked like us. All right. Belt test. I've zoomed in a lot. So let's go look up here. And what I'm going to do, this might be a little bit too much zoomed in. I'm going to go look at the history, and we're going to go back to October 25th, where we were doing harvesting the hard way by using heat.
Right.
All right. Remember that? And here we updated net standard. Here we go. Let's harvest the dependencies. All right. Let's look at this diff. Yep. Here it is. Okay. So you can see how straightforward it is with HeatWave harvesting. The advanced harvesting that FireGiant provides, it's just an extension. The extension, you add a couple elements to your XML the same way that all extensions work, and it just does the thing. Heat is different because it's older and has all kinds of different issues. You remember Heat had this inside the MS Build project, David? Remember how we had to save the harvest directory and it was inside the WiX proj? It was not in your code because Heat had to run and generate this file that then was like pulled into your compile, and we had to filter everything out and do XSL, all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
So now, and we added a reference to the Heat package reference right here to make it work. All right. You'll trust me that if I put these things back in the MS Build project, that it's going to work from the command line, right? Same as in Visual Studio.
Right.
Right. Okay. So I don't want to go do that. I want to show all the people that were asking, can I use Heat from the command line without using MS Build? So let's go jump into that next. Okay. I don't like this solution. It's this path and everything that you're using Heat. Heat does not have a long future in WiX. We're looking at ways of getting rid of it. I mentioned all this like 2 episodes ago. All right. So to get Heat and to use it, you from the command line, you have to do something a little bit weird. We have to get this package reference local. We have to get Heat onto our machine, but we don't want it as integrated in MS Build project. We want to be able to just use it from the command line. Does that make sense? Right.
Oh, okay.
You're like, okay, how do you do that? Well, it turns out that you can use NuGet. NuGet install, and then you give it the name of the package you want, I think. Actually, I don't remember. I think it's that. Let's try it. WiX Toolset.heat. I think it will pick the latest version for me automatically, but I don't remember. All right. So when you say NuGet install, and I think, I'm just going to do -- because I don't remember. I don't do this often. Okay. NuGet install -o. Okay, that it is -o. All right. So you can say NuGet install WiX Toolset.heat. So this is going to go up to NuGet.org, find the heat tool, which is the same thing that this package reference did when we use it in MS Build. Okay.
Right.
Same systems here. -o, and we'll just call it tools. All right. So I'm going to output it into a folder inside built test package called tools, and it'll make sense here in a minute. All right. So NuGet install, all this output from NuGet that basically says, hey, we successfully installed this NuGet package into the tools directory. So what's in the tools directory? Ta-da! The expanded NuGet package. Okay. So if we look inside that folder, we'll see that this is what WiX ships, the NuGet package that we ship. This is all of our stuff in it. And it turns out there is in the tools folder in here let's do a directory. Oh, I forgot. We have both of them. So we can use the .NET Framework one or the .NET 6 one. And inside here, then we have architecture. Let's do, we'll do x64. I think that's what we're at. Ta-da! We finally got our way down. All the way down here is a heat.exe. Okay. So those of you that want to be able to use heat.exe from the command line, this is how you do it. You do a NuGet install, specify an output folder, and then here's heat.exe. And when you run it, you get all the output from it with all the things that you have to say. So let me see if I can run it real quick, if I can remember all the command lines. I don't do this very often, so we're going to harvest a directory that is obj publish, obj x64 debug publish Windows Service 1. Okay. And then we have to give it the filter. I know we want to do that. Somewhere in here is that command. I saw it a second ago. Was it filter? I'm gonna guess that it's filter. And oh, I got rid of the filter. All right, we're not doing the filtering. Let's see what happens if I just run it. Do I have to give it an output location? Oh, we'll just run it. I do have to give it an output location.
Yep.
-o gen.wxs. Oh, -t. Thank you, gentlemen, for -t. The thing is, I just realized that I don't have this filter.xsl local anyway, so we'll skip that. All right, so there we go. We ran a directory. We got gen.wxs, and if we look at it here, and we open it. Oh wait, I do have filter XSL. All right, let's look what we got. You can see we got the default settings that you get when you run heat, and it generates all of this code in this very ugly way that it does, including the whole put GUID here. So then you have to go remember to use the -ag switch to use the star GUIDs. Generate the GUIDs. So now we have star GUIDs. So WiX will take care of the GUIDs for us, and then so on and so on from here. Let's try the -t because we have it, right? Filter.xsl. I forgot we left the file in. We didn't delete it. -o. That okay. It's a much shorter file now. Ta-da! We filtered out a bunch of files like PDBs and stuff like that, right? And the XEs, XEs and the PDBs. So our file got a lot shorter, such that it had only these files on the outside. All right. So for those of you that were trying to figure out how to use heat from the command line, the magic is NuGet install WiX Toolset somewhere in your tree, and then you can go find the the heat.exe that you want underneath there to get your build working. Okay. Got it. Terribly exciting, I know. But this is just shows for all the people that are asking, hey, can you do this from the command line? Absolutely. Personally, I like just hooking up an MS Build, having HeatWave visualize it for me, and then I don't have to worry about lots and lots of command lines. Plus, it's easier for developers just to go MS Build and have everything get built for them. And when anything changes, it automatically rebuilds. The projects need to be updated and harvest for us and all that kind of good stuff. All right. Although I do have the 64-bit problem. Can I solve this by doing dash? I'm just gonna hack at this. Platform equals x64. I think that's the command. What I'm telling it here is please build. The problem is by me telling it build this in 64, it ends up saying build everything in 64-bit. That's why we were using the solution. And this is a complication that we're not going to talk about today, but is one of those fun things in MS Build and forcing the platform to be x64 for all projects. By passing on the command line, we're basically saying set this for all projects instead of just the one that we're building right here. So it's a little bit more difficult. All right, that's the things I have for today. Let's go and pick up anything else people want to kind of mop up here with harvesting and stuff like that. All right, David, any questions? Any things going through the mind? Stuff that we should revisit, talk about, consider before we go?
I don't know, not really of this.
Not of this, that's fine. Other things?
Maybe just kind of looking towards the future, right? Like some just general questions that, since I don't really keep an eye on that space, right? Like, do you know about it, like Microsoft's plans for the future, right? MSI versus like the MSIX that they had going for a little while. Like, do you have any insight into what's coming up?
So MSIX was the biggest flash in the pan that we've had in the last, I've lost track now, 8 years. I forgot how long it's been around. It has not caught on because MSIX is so limited in what it can do, or it is limited in what it can do, so it hasn't caught on with a lot of developers using it. However, there is an extension, and it's not something we're going to talk about now, but you brought it up, David, right? But there is an extension inside for FireGiant, and I don't know. I don't want to try to bring it up now because it's something we would talk about in the future. FireGiant, MSI. I forgot the exact name. Yeah, FireGiant HeatWave Build Tools MSI WiX extension. So this thing, and we can see it on firegiant.com in our documentation. In the for documentation, HeatWave Build Tools, MSIX extension. So you can walk through all this documentation. You bring an extension in to your WiX build, all right? Just like we brought the advanced harvesting extension in, you can bring this one in, and instead of building an MSI, it will build you an MSIX from your WiX source code. So this is something we definitely could talk about in a future episode of Deployment Dojo, maybe an episode in season 2, I don't know, of things to break down. It hasn't caught on big. We haven't had a lot of people saying, oh, I want to build MSIX packages, because MSIX packages are by design, by Microsoft's choice, it is limited, and they've done that on purpose because they don't want apps doing lots of things. Because when apps do lots of things, they don't always clean up properly. How is MSIX limited? MSIX limit has no custom actions, for example. So if they don't support the functionality that you want, then you can't do anything. You can't do it at install time. They also will put you in a container. I don't know if it's by default. You can run outside the container now. So a container was like a little jail that your app ran in. And they wanted apps running in jail because Windows was like, hey, we're trying to protect ourselves from apps. It's essentially what they were doing. So they built an installation technology to protect the operating system from the apps being able to do anything. The challenge is that a lot of people using WiX are building complicated systems that integrate deeply with the system, and if MSIX didn't expose it, then you couldn't use it. And we had a couple customers actually that were like, we might be able to use MSIX, but the trigger for them was, but if we add this feature, then we can't use MSIX, so we have to back out all the way out of MSIX and switch to a whole other installation technology. So you could see how, as a decision maker for a company, betting that your application will never outgrow what MSIX supports gets really hard, right? To pick an installation technology that you know is limited in these ways, you have to know that your app is not going to outgrow that. And that has just been a real challenge to push through in larger companies. So like Zach brings up, isn't somewhat geared towards Windows Store type apps. And yeah, it's geared more towards what I call toy apps. They're just limited. They're more limited apps. And typically they're honestly the things that you could see like that are like, they could be web pages, but they made them apps to get a couple extra things. But so we have all the support for MSIX, but it's not really popular, and I don't know how to talk and suggest people. I don't know how to suggest people use MSIX unless they could say, here's what our app does, and we know that's what it's going to be. And I'm like, all right, that's great. As long as you don't outgrow the bounds of MSIX, it's great. So that's been the challenge of MSIX. And because they have wanted to keep it narrow, like Martin brings up the idea of making Windows iOS, like, you know, in iOS, your apps can only do very limited set of things on the operating system, right? By design. On the phones, Android's the same way. MSIX is kind of was designed in that vein. That means MSI is still very popular because the Windows installer can do anything that you need to do. So you know that you can get your application installed and installed correctly, and if you do the appropriate work, it'll uninstall correctly and clean up everything and operate properly just using MSI. So Windows installer still is highly popular for that reason, because you know it's what we call the anything installer, the everything installer. It can install anything on Windows. That's what it was designed to do, and it continues to be that, where MSIX is not designed to be that. It is designed to limit what the applications can do to the operating system. It's just different philosophies.
Right.
And I guess if apps keep getting simpler and accept those limitations, then maybe MSIX will become really popular. And we will have a whole series of Dojo shows about how easy it is for you to write your WiX code and put it into MSIX. I saw Martin ask, can you elaborate on the plans for Heat XE replacement? We're looking at replacing Heat with functionality in the language itself. So like some of the stuff we've learned from the advanced harvesting, bringing some of that functionality, just put it in the language. So it doesn't have to be an extension. So we'll do the straightforward solutions and have that in WiX so that we can start moving back to, and then we'll just push Heat to the side because 99% of the people want some very simple functionality, and that's probably what should be supported in WiX. So that's what we're looking at. And we're still finalizing some of the details, but if you want to see that, it probably is a WiX 5 thing. So go to the WiX online meetings, and when we get to that point, we'll talk about it. It's like one of Bob's pet projects is kind of tackling this and making that part of the world better, because heat definitely is not the way to make the world a better place. Given the way the whole thing is designed. So more coming now. I don't want to promise anything here because not promisable yet, but it'll be decided pretty soon. No update. What does that say? No update since Win 7, rock solid or abandoned. Oh, MSI. Yeah, so Martin also brings another point when you think about MSI versus MSIX, David. The Windows installer is not getting a lot of updates now. It gets security fixes, and that's about it. Obviously, Microsoft turned their attention to building this new limited installer and said, we have the anything installer. You can write custom actions. You can do what you need to in it. So the question is it rock solid or is it abandoned? And it's not abandoned because they keep fixing security fixes in it like when they need to. So it's rock solid, and it has an advantage that it's known. It's not changing. So we can now take dependencies on behavior, knowing that it's going to work these particular ways, and then make decisions on it, knowing that it's very, very consistent from the whole time. So Bob's like, not mutually exclusive, that it's rock solid and abandoned. Yeah, so it's not abandoned, and given MSIX's limitations, the answer is the Windows installer. Like, that's what Microsoft would tell you, is that if you should really fit into our limited model because we want to protect the OS from your application. If you buy into it, that's MSIX. If you don't, the answer is the Windows installer, and it's still there. It's still working very well. And we know it really well now. And the fact that it's not changing a lot is also kind of nice because it doesn't break you. The Windows installer doesn't change, which is so nice. It's not that way everywhere. You know what I mean, David? Like, where things keep changing. I mean, WiX 3 to WiX 4, we changed the language and these things. That broke you. It's still alive. We're improving the language, but you have to handle the change. The Windows installer is rock solid, stable, abandoned, but yeah, it just keeps working. So it's the answer if you need to install anything. And we have a lot of customers that come to FireGiant going, how do I pick between these two? And it's like, can you fit in the limited world? If not, the Windows installer is a great answer for you. And that it's very simple. On that way, it's a pretty simple discussion. Are you happy to fit in the limited world? Then you can consider MSX. Or maybe MSI is what you want anyway. So that's a wandering answer, I think, to your question. I hope it answered it somewhere.
Yeah.
Plus a couple other things I picked up. All right. When does Dojo Season 1 blooper reel come out? You have to ask Steph. She has to go back and reprocess all the video and come up with that. I don't know if we'll see. I'm it's gonna take a break and go focus on a bunch of things internally. I don't expect to go back and do a whole lot of video editing on the episodes. I've thought about it. I did the one for how to get the first one, the how to get the latest a dev build of WiX Toolset, and that video is, I like it. It's out there, but doing all the other ones, I'm not sure. It takes a lot of just time to go back and do that. And you have the live videos. They're in a playlist. You can watch all of them. People are watching them. It's great. A lot of people said this has been helpful. I appreciate that. I'm really glad to hear people have enjoyed the series thus far. And I definitely want to continue doing more of these things because this is fun for me too. And I don't know if we'll have a blooper reel. Have we had many bloopers? I mean, in the end, really, David? I mean, bloopers.
I don't think bloopers. We've had a couple like where things get cut off or something.
And things get, go wrong. Like, just don't work.
Right.
So, let's see. That's what I have for the day. I figured today would be kind of short because I knew this command line stuff was... The MS Build is the easy way to do it. You can use MS Build from the command line. In fact, we've been doing that the whole time because if you look at the build... the build.command, it's just been running MS Build, passing our version number in every single build that we've been going. So, yeah, that's the easy way to do it. You can certainly do it from the command line, and you can see how advanced harvesting is straightforward and how you can get the heat tool using NuGet install. All right, I think I've summed it up. David?
Yep.
All right.
I think you did.
Okay, well, I don't know what to tell you about season 2 yet. I have not made any decisions about that. There's nothing much to talk about all those things yet, other than I've enjoyed this. This has been a lot of fun. I've been very glad that you have all joined me here. Let me see. Get diff. All right. I think I can just do a get PR. If I do this PR, we're just getting the episode 54 up there, right, David? I'm going to do it. He's like, well, what kind of change is that? It is a very small change that just isn't. Here we'll do that. And HeatWave, build tools. Build tools and go end of season 1. That's what we're gonna do. All right, cool.
Cool.
Oh no, not episode. This is episode 54 and end of season 1. Harvesting for the command line build tools. There we go. So that'll be a nice marker. Be able to find it in the things, and we'll go on and up where we go. And I'm still around. If you really want to get a hold of me, you go to Fire Giant. We have a way of saying, hey, I want to spend some money and I want to talk directly to Rob about exactly what I want. We have that at Fire Giant. So if you still want to see me or talk to me, I am available through that mechanism. I do take a lot of those calls because I like taking customer calls. So if you choose to do that route, you might get me. If you send a code review, you might get me too. Those are fun too. People send us code and say, please review all my code. Tell me everything that's wrong with it. And then you get a nice 2-hour-long conversation to get a detailed analysis of your code. Think of it like Deployment Dojo, but exactly on the things that you want to cover. And that's that. So there's the world. That's what we're doing. We'll see what the future holds. I know Steph is kind of upset. She's like, she finally showed up. And she's very excited to make her appearance, and now she's going to have to see us out of here. So I think on that, David, it's time for us to say goodbye, and we'll make plans for the future. Enable auto merge. So until we speak again, you guys keep coding. You know I am. Bye.
See ya.
All right, Steph, take us out.
Sure. But first, can I show you something I found? I know George was God, but Gracie is my hero.
Like, I heard a couple of women talking to a sales girl, and they said, Miss, do you mind if we try on those nightgowns in the window? And I said...
I know. And you said, don't do it there, do it in the dressing room.
I did not.
No?
I said, I think they're lovely, and I'd like to try one on, too.
And did you?
Well, yes. The 3 of us tied up traffic for blocks.
So good night.
Good night to you too, Gracie. This was the last episode of the Deployment Dojo for Season 1. Subscribe now to be notified when Season 2 starts. Finally, good night to you. I look forward to seeing each of you next season back here in the Deployment Dojo.